Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome on back to the channel, Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts, feelings, opinions on it. More importantly, as always, asking for yours. A little bit more bearable over here in the kingdom today. It was a heat wave. It was a heat wave. It was very hot, very humid. I was sweating my gonads off. And it was just difficult, but we've reverted back to type. We've got some rain here, and I'm feeling all cozy here in my office. I've got myself a coffee, and we're going to get into it together. So, thank you for joining me. Welcome on back. Everyone's welcome here, of course. If you want to join the fun, then why not subscribe to Football Therapy, hit the bell, drop a like, and all that lovely stuff. Join the community. Hashtag friends. Alright then, today we're speaking about outgoings, incomings. Of course, we are expecting the announcements of Gittins and Joao Pedro. Possibly today, we can react to that if and when it comes to pass. But I do want to speak about, of course, Mohamed Kudus, who's been going around the rags, the headlines, the publications. Not great numbers, but he is a streets player. Chelsea like him. Chelsea fans, football fans like him, despite not posting strong numbers in what has been a dismal West Ham side the last couple of years. He is a really good player, a player Chelsea like. I think it would be exciting. We'll talk about that though. Lots of stuff has to come to pass for that to happen. But I want to start off with this nice little warm fuzzy here. Romano probably being briefed by Chelsea, which is usually the way. Josh Champon. Well, sorry, this is him reacting to a quote from the Mail, but we've seen a lot of this pro Champon staying at Chelsea posts from Romano. Joshua Champon on his links a move away from Chelsea said this, quote, I don't pay attention to any of that speculation. I love the club and Maresca trusts me. Heck, we know Maresca loves you, man. I always want to stay at Chelsea and show what I can do, he told the Daily Mail. I need to sneeze. I'm going to pause the recording. I lost the sneeze, man. Nothing sadder in life. That's probably untrue, but very frustrating. Look, great news for me. Joshua Champong looks incredibly like he's a high performer now, but he's got an incredibly high ceiling as well. What's really pertinent is he can play comfortably in several different roles, positions in Enzo Maresca's system, and that is huge for Maresca. We know he said he loves Josh, and we've seen him play as a centre-back, a right-back, an inverting full-back that either goes to CDM or indeed the front pockets, the number 10 positions. Heavily trusted, the very young man, by the Chelsea manager, and that's actually really good news, and I'm feeling good about that. And I'm glad he's coming out and saying these things because, the Chelsea fans love him. They do. They really do. Right, before we speak about Kudus and stuff like that, I want to speak about outgoings. Of course, we've seen the Noni Madueke story be spread like wildfire all over the gaff. Footballing media, social media, yada, yada, yada. Now, apparently, though Arsenal are interested, there's conflicting reports on whether they've actually made a bid. I reacted to a story yesterday saying there had been a bid. But there's a journalist saying there's been an inquiry. Either way, there's contact and there's a potential desire there. Arsenal being linked to like Eze or Noni Madueke, they're very different players. Noni is very much a winger. Eze is a little bit more of an inside pocket player who can be farmed out wide, but it just doesn't do him any, favours really. Obviously, if you're an Arsenal fan, in terms of talent level and, high performance, you'd want Eze. But, Noni's good and getting better and probably suits them in profile better. But Ben Jacobs has said, Maresca still values Noni Madueke. However, Chelsea could entertain bids of £45 million with add-ons on top. Wow, especially if they were to secure another attacker. So let's say, 10, 15 million add-ons? That's like 55, 60 million pounds. That would, if it was 60... I did speculate on this before. It would be more than doubling Chelsea's money on him, on Madueke, which they would see as ruddy good business, especially considering he's not mandatory. Firstly, I know that Maresca, we all know Maresca likes him because Maresca did with Madueke what he did with Reece James and calling him out in certain ways because A, he thinks he can take the criticism, and B, he thinks he will benefit from it. Reece James, he called out his capacity to be a captain, or how he asserts himself as a captain. Since then, Reece James has been a really, really good assertive captain. It works. He said the same with Noni. He called Noni out a couple of times, the Chelsea manager, and he said, I do it because Noni can be great. Like, you know, I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. And I quite like that. And actually, for all the criticism that, you know, rightly at times that Maresca's had, he does a lot of stuff right, in my opinion. And this is one of the things, well, he deals with the players well. He's assertive, he's authoritative, he gets angry. He feels quite Chelsea in a lot of ways for me, in terms of how he can be a bit aggressive and abrasive, but also he can be really... He's still young enough to sort of connect with the players. He does like Madueke. He's played him on both sides. And look, let's be clear. Noni Madueke is his stocks are high. Yeah, he's been winning Player of the Match awards for England out of position in competitive games. He's playing on both flanks for Chelsea. He's always available, always fit. He's very strong. He's productive. He can be more productive. He's a good player. So he's worth that money. I think if you sat down, I've seen over social media Arsenal fans, the majority of Arsenal fans aren't interested. Of course, there's the sort of culture wars. They've signed Kepa for 5 million. Chelsea fans going, thank you very much. Arsenal fans going, we've signed your best goalkeeper for 5 million. You spent 71 million, which of course context is required. Chelsea have made a book profit on Kepa because they extended his contract again and put him on a 5 million buyout clause. So, and that he was obviously purchased in the previous ownership. So, context is required as always in everything. So, and again, they're buying. There's more Chelsea players. You know, just in recent memory, it was obviously Petr, Willian, David Luiz, Jorginho, Kai Havertz, Sterling on loan, and Kepa Arrizabalaga, and indeed it could be Noni Madueke. It's a well-trod path, and this is just recently, if you don't go back into the older Premier League years. So yeah, man, look, for Noni Madueke, I don't want to sell him to Arsenal, personally. I kind of understand Chelsea's position that if they're going to sign Mohamed Kudus as well, who, by the way, can play on the right. And a lot of Chelsea fans, a lot of them like Noni, but a lot of Chelsea fans, despite Noni like outscoring Kudus in the last couple of years, there's a lot of Chelsea fans out there say, look, would you rather have Mohamed Kudus or Noni Madueke? A lot of Chelsea fans would say Kudus. And maybe that would be the situation here. Maybe Chelsea see that we would be able to get Kudus for the money we sell Noni for, and actually bank a book profit in terms of the transfers ins and outs. So there's stuff like that. I'm going to talk about Kudus in just a moment. Of course, as well, you've got Neto. Neto's clearly not going anywhere, playing very well, in form, a bit more senior, very versatile, good application, good professionalism, yada, yada, yada. Chelsea want Neto. Neto, Esteval, you know, and then you've got Gittins. João Pedro can also play on the left wing. And of course, if Kudus does come in, he can play on a right wing or the left wing. Tariq George might stay as a backup unless he can get a really good loan. No desire to sell. And of course, before we just move on to Kudus, there's other player sales as well, more pressing. Maresca likes Noni, but Noni's stocks are high, so therefore he's a very sellable asset. Unlike Raheem Sterling. That is a problem that's not being briefed in the public media. You're not getting, like, you know, headlines and articles saying, well, Raheem's talking this, and this. It's, probably because it doesn't serve Chelsea or agents and stuff, they're probably trying to do it quietly in the background. But Sterling, I mean, we're not going to spend much time on this. Takes a 60% pay cut, goes to Fulham. More than that, takes a 65, 70% pay cut, goes to Fulham. Goes to Saudi Arabia, keeps his current wages. Goes to Turkey, takes like a 40% wage cut. That's me speculating what's available for him, if I was to guess. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Of course, we've got Nkunku as well. And Nkunku's seemingly being a good citizen away in America in the Club World Cup. He might play some more, he might score some more. He'll probably see that as enjoying his football again, a chance to win a trophy. You know, he did score a bunch of goals in the Conference League, which Chelsea won. He might win the Club World Cup. Touch wood, that'd be great. Obviously, should we even get to the final, would probably meet a horrendously devastating Paris Saint-Germain. But, you know, he could be part of a great experience, raise his profile, raise his player value, raise his potential landing spots. I don't think there's a wild player in Kudus stays, but he's probably eminently more sellable than a Raheem Sterling. So players to be sold, including the likes of Dewsbury Hall, who we bought exactly a year ago today. Lots of players to go out. Of course, we're still being linked with a defender. We looked at Dean Howson. We considered Mark Gurhey, who looks like he's off to Liverpool, which I think would be an amazing signing for them. A proper successor to Virgil van Dijk, in my opinion. And yes, we might buy another attacker, and this could be Mohamed Kudus. So, I haven't actually read this yet, but I'm going to react to this article by Mick Badoon here on Football Insider. Here he is. Happy as Larry down there. Chelsea raced Tottenham to sign Mohamed Kudus. A bid below the release clause will be accepted, which of course is crazy. So Chelsea are rivaling Spurs to sign him. That is according to former Spurs and West Ham senior scout Mick Brown, who remains very well connected to his former clubs, and he's exclusively told Football Insider. I hope to be a Football Exciter here on the channel. That the Blues have now set their sights on the 24-year-old. This comes after Spurs have held talks with the forward, while there are two sides involved in the race, of which Chelsea are one. Well, surely, if he's got anything about him, and a choice between the two, you come Chelsea, mate. It's a party over here, mate. We're playing well. We're all having fun. We're not getting 38 points in the league. I know Thomas Frank's a good manager, and it's probably poised for a lot of positive change at Tottenham, sadly, but still better party at Chelsea. Okay, so he's got a release clause for £80 million, which of course is mental, especially considering how he's been performing for a long time at West Ham. I'm not going to put that entirely on him, because West Ham have been, how do you say it? Shit? Sorry. I never swear on this channel, but I don't even know why I did that there. Just sort of slipped out. Apologies to those of you listening around your kids. I know a lot of people listen to me driving their kids to school and stuff, so that's a bad word, kids. Don't say it. Yeah, that made me laugh. Yeah. Alright, come on. Wrestle this back. I can pull it back. I'm back. 80 million quid. Too much money for Kudus. Incredible money. So they would absolutely have to accept under that. And yeah, Chelsea and Spurs reportedly neither are willing to meet that. Maresca's side are in a strong PSR position. Many of you would have seen the graphics circulating around social media, how we're the strongest team in the world certainly in the Premier League, for profit and sustainability rules. Of course, we've made loads of player sales. We've sold our women's team, hotels. Heck, Villa have jumped on board and they've started selling. They've sold their women's team as well. It's a party. Everyone does it. Everyone copies Chelsea. Brown told Football Insider that Graham Potter is prepared to sell Kudus and is planning for life without the Ghana international. Yes, it looks like Kudus will be leaving West Ham. There's been a lot of interest in him, but the clubs aren't going to pay £80 million. They'll speak to West Ham and negotiate a lower fee, but I think it's something that's going to be open because it will still be big money. With Chelsea, it seems like they could spend endless amounts of money, and they're prepared to do so. They've agreed a deal for Joao Pedro, of course, as well as Jamie Gittins, and but we're not going to stop there, apparently. And of course, we heard that as well from Fabrizio Romano. So, Kudus, here he is on Transfermarkt. He's 24 years old. He's apparently predominantly a right winger. He's left-footed, so he would kind of be replacing Noni Madueke in terms of that profile. Can play very much on the left wing as well, and attacking midfield, so he could play in the pockets. He's rated as 38 million pounds here on Transfermarkt. Absolutely not a chance you get him for that. He has got long on his contract, a 2028 option for a further year, so they'll argue that's 4 years left on his deal, and therefore they'll be like, he's worth a lot of money. Fine, I kind of get that, but still, if you look at his numbers the last 2 years, it is very, very poor. Like I said, it's very much like a, we know what he can do player, do you know what I mean? Rather than look at his undeniable numbers, mate, do you know what I mean? Because he simply just doesn't have those. Now, I guess I'm just going to double check as I speak to you. Yeah, he scored 5 Premier League goals and 3 assists in 31 games. So it's not massive, not great. I mean, I thought it might have even been less than that, like 3 or something. Last season, let's see what he did last season. he did get a few goals in the UECL and stuff last season. Right, in the league, yeah, 8 goals, 6 assists in the league before. I mean, it's not double digit. He'll think, because it's been that West Ham team and like they've been poor, that he'll come to Chelsea, he can get double digits for Premier League goals, few assists, score in other competitions as well. And yeah, why not? Why not? It's Chelsea. You got Cole Palmer, Estevan, and Enzo Fernandez all passing you, all incredible passes and creative players. So I can see it. Of course, Chelsea might be thinking, well, if we sell Noni Madueke, we're doing a huge book profit on him. We're doubling our money. We sign Kudus, put him on a whatever 6 plus 1 year deal, amortize that over 5 years. Let's just say, how much would you spend on Kudus? We say £60 million. And then obviously you can only amortize that over 5 years, but that's £12 million for the first year. And then you'd be putting a bunch of money in from Noni. I get it. I can see it. I would generally potentially be interested in it. And look, we've heard Madueke say he'd rather get a bunch of players that could score 10 goals than rely on like an Erling Haaland figure that's to score 50 goals, especially because if he gets injured, you're screwed. So, yeah, Kudus would be another one of these players like Gittins, like Joao Pedro, like Neto, like Palmer, that you can rely on to hit the ball in the back of the net, to spread the load, to share the load, to be good collectively together. Alright, man. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. Please consider joining the fun here on Football Therapy and liking and subscribing. And if you've got to the end, it means you might like my content, so why not check out the second channel, Football Yannick, where there is also daily content, non-Chelsea related stuff, of course. We're on 18.5 thousand subs, road to 20k this summer. That would be lovely stuff. Alright, mate, enjoy the football. I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.